Okay, I'm going to start the audio recording now. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of The Bunker Project. We're doing it a little differently this time. We are on a Google Plus Hangout only. We're not in the Bunker Bar, sitting in the back room drinking beer. We're sitting in our offices, and our someone here is lying on the couch in their living room.
I'm laying my couch near the air conditioner.
One thing that hasn't changed is that at least I'm drinking my beer. This time I'm drinking a Left Blonde. And what about you?
Actually,
Bonnie, you're drinking your Coca-Cola or water?
No, I'm drinking water. The only time I drink Diet Coke is the Bunker. So.
Ah, right.
And actually, I'm drinking water tonight because I never thought to go to the store.
Actually, I ran out to the store right before, and that's one of the benefits of living downtown that I'm gonna miss when we move next month.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, leaving downtown after 4.5, 5 years, I guess.
And moving into a house, right?
Yes, getting a bigger place, bigger family, bigger place. Yeah, it's much needed. So,
oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
But especially, if the girls are won't be that much longer and they're going to be walking, and then you're really going to need space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and one of them's already crawling. Mia is crawling. Yeah, you saw that on brotherandswins.com?
Yeah. Wow.
And and Maeva is still not there yet. She's watching Mia crawl, but she's not crawling herself. But she'll be there soon, and next thing you know, they'll be running around. And, yeah. So why don't we do a quick roundtable introduction like we usually do? We'll start with Bonnie.
Okay, Bonnie Sainsbury, Social Media Smarter and WTT Marketing. And I'm the Twitter maven. And what else? Digital marketing, general social media person with opinions.
And email marketing.
Email marketing, that's great. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's new. We're Margaret and I are constant contact
solution
providers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good company, and is slowly integrating social media into newsletter marketing.
Yeah, so I think that they're the leader in this, aren't they? In terms of integrating social media and events and all that kind of thing. I think the other company giving them a run for their money in that department is GetResponse.
Right.
Yeah. So Margaret. Oh, wait, before we move on to Margaret, you forgot to mention that you are listed in the top 50 social media female influencers in the world.
I am.
And the top 20 women, top 50 overall, and top 20 women.
Right.
And you were also listed
Forbes.
in Forbes, the Forbes list, and what was the other list that you were?
CEO magazine.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Excellent. So Margaret Reynolds, the other half of Women Talking Tech. So yeah, what I'm really liking about Constant Contact is the ability to do coupons, whether it's email, through a Facebook promotion, or social media. Polls and surveys embedded on your website. Event registration, whether it's a free event or a hangout that you want to promote or a webinar. Very smart, and the analytics make it totally worthwhile doing it that way. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool, and we've got some awesome things coming up, so that's where I've been at.
Very cool, and we're going to get more into that a little bit later. And of course, my name's Andy McGivern. I'm the co-host of The Bunker Show, along with all the regular mavens here, Margaret and Bonnie included. And the other main co-host that usually is on the show with me is Bob Garlick, and he can't make it today because I believe he's at the fireworks with his kids. So
good luck.
Which is why we're not downtown. If there's going to be 500,000 people downtown watching the fireworks, it's not a good idea to get down there and have to take transit home. So yeah, no way.
Yeah, they're estimating about 300,000 people will be downtown. Right. We've done the Bunker Show before during firework nights. and that part of town is pretty quiet. But
Right.
yeah, once you get out and try and get on the train,
Yeah.
for me it wasn't an issue because I just walked down the street. So
Yeah, for me to get home would be pretty much, it would take me
oh, yeah.
hours.
You'd be lining up outside the SkyTrain for forever to get on the train.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm much more comfortable laying on my couch tonight.
Yeah, and so the West End is the main area to watch fireworks, and Kitts is the second area, and that's where I live. So I would be going sort of from one fireworks watching area into another one.
Yeah, you'd be going from one hotspot to the other.
I know.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
in
and
fact,
it's
I
not.
can hear them. I can hear people now going down to the water.
I mean, and would transit even be running on its regular route, or would it even be able to work?
Well, it sort of works, but not well.
Yeah.
So.
Been there, done that, watched them, don't need to do it tonight.
Yeah, I know. When I first moved down here, I lived on Kitts Point, and I used to walk down all the time. It wasn't too bad. It was wall-to-wall people, but now they're stacked 3 deep, so like you say.
Yeah, and it's France tonight.
Oh, is it?
So
Okay.
that'll be interesting. I don't think they've competed before here, so.
Ah.
Yeah, and the U.S. apparently did really well on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm at Podcast Hero on Twitter, Podcast Maven, and Mobile Technology Maven, I guess, and working on a few things myself as well, and I'll be talking about those in a future episode coming down the road. But what do we have on the schedule for today here? We got Twitter. We're going to talk a little bit about Twitter and their results, how they're doing, despite what analysts predicted. Facebook Messenger, how they've segregated the messaging on Facebook onto a separate app and kind of force you to have that second app. The Liebster Award, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. I want to talk a little bit about that, and we'll get into Castle, the Canada anti-spam legislation, and a little bit on smartphones, and then whatever else happens to pop up. We've only got 3 people on the show, so the digressions might not happen as crazy as they normally do, but we'll see how it goes. So Twitter. Bonnie, you brought up before the show that Twitter is actually doing better than expected.
That's correct. So they had I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but they had a good quarter, and they actually, their stock was up, I think, 15%, based on how well they did. So they may be losing, or the number of new Twitterers may not be, they may not be joining at the same rate they did before, but nevertheless, the people that are on it are using it correctly, and they're making money. Now, I'm not a big fan of any kind of social media ads, but obviously other people are. And I find Twitter is still one of the most effective ways to build a community, to stay in touch.
Well, also, too, because you can reach out to people that you don't already know, whereas Facebook, I mean, you can reach out, but generally it's people that are already on your Facebook. They're people you already know, whereas you can easily build up a new community, or or add to your community on Twitter with people that you haven't met yet.
Right.
Just similar to Google Plus in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think part of it is that you don't have to follow back. You can follow people, they can follow you. You can follow each other. It's more flexible. I know Facebook has the subscribe feature, but not very many people actually use it.
No,
so
they don't, do they? No.
Yeah.
So Margaret is building our Women Talking Tech Twitter account. And what are we up to these days?
Oh, we're getting close to 4,000, considering it was about 1,800 2 weeks ago. That's not too bad.
And those are,
that's really good. So what do you do?
So that's not you can't avoid spammers, because you can't say no, you can't join me. But
well, okay,
a pretty good
There are accounts I block. I block those stupid accounts that say, "Oh, for $20, I'll get you 10,000 Twitter followers." I block those.
Yeah, those are automatic.
I block and report them as spam. So yeah.
So we have we have those 4,000 people are for the most part, probably 99% of them are real people, real accounts.
No,
Mhm.
I check for inactive and fake and all of that. So yeah, I do try to keep it real.
Well, inactive doesn't necessarily mean that they're not real people and
Well, no, I
real.
mean they could be real people, but if they haven't tweeted in 2 years, I'm really not that interested
Yeah,
in following them.
yeah, 2 years, yeah, for sure.
You know, or even a
But
year.
I've got a lot of when you're looking at your, say, if you're using Manage Flitter and it shows you're inactive. I've got a lot of people on there that are showing up in there. Friends and family members who, they're not super active on Twitter, but they are there and they do look at it. They monitor, kind of lurk on Twitter, but they don't actually participate that much.
If they want to follow and not be active, I don't care. That doesn't bother me. But I'm not going to follow them if they're not doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially when I'm trying to build our following up, and you can only Twitter. You can't get that huge difference even over 2,000 now. You can't get that huge difference between followers and the people you're following. So
yeah.
So you have to treat every once in a while go in and clean it out, and so you can't keep deadwood in there.
What's the Women Talking Tech Twitter handle?
It's Women Talking Tech, just not with an H on the end. It's TEC.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, there's your little logo there. Cool.
And we've got a Facebook page that's pretty active too.
Nice.
And it's getting more and more active all the time. So it's.
So what's your strategy for building following on Twitter? Like, how are you doing it? If you had 1,800 people a month or so ago, 2 months ago.
That's our magic.
Yeah, well, that's what this show's all about. It's about revealing.
I don't know, do we want to give that up?
We'll give generalization.
Okay.
Yeah, give a hint. Give a hint to it. You don't have to give away all the magic.
Follow people.
Follow the right people.
Try and follow good people.
And I'll add just a little bit more to it. If you're
I think you've given this away in a couple bunker shows already.
I know.
Actually.
I have. We have.
I should go back and the archives and.
They can go back and read. So you immerse yourself in. If you're following a leader, then you take a look and see what they're talking about. It should be something that either your community or you are interested in. So you talk about that. You retweet that leader, and you follow their followers.
Mm-hmm. And then they see you interacting with them, and that gives you credibility automatically, and then they follow you. Good strategy.
Yeah, and then after a while, after you get to a certain point, then I've noticed then it's like all of a sudden, more people start following that I'm not following. So then if they're good people, then I follow them back.
Yep.
So tweet chats are another way. We're not using them very much right now, but tweet chats are an excellent way because you're in there talking to them, so they know who you are, and they almost always phone everybody or follow everybody that's in the tweet chat. Now, that isn't huge numbers. It's like maybe a dozen, but they're going to be leaders in whatever niche.
Yeah, and that's something that we don't really take advantage of, doing the bunker show. We don't generally do that. Maybe we should be doing tweet chats during the show.
Yeah, we'll have to try that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people talking about this on Facebook, saying it's a horrible move by Facebook, and
it's just a pain in the ass. Because, instead of just being in your, and this is just mobile. So instead of just being in your app and being able to send a message from within your app, then you have to go over to the Messenger app and do it from there, and it's just, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, that part is a little bit, I don't like that. But the Messenger app, in terms of when you're actually using it, it actually is much better than in Facebook on the mobile app. I find, anyways. And
but I think, I don't think it should be mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're trying to make it the best possible experience for messaging, and then the best possible experience on the rest of Facebook.
I know, but the
for
best possible
mobile.
experience is giving people the flexibility and not forcing them to do, things.
True, but if you have two different things, two totally different things. You're reading walls, you're reading wall posts, you're making comments, and then messaging, which is a different animal altogether, and they're competing with other services too, right? BBM and they bought WhatsApp, didn't they?
I think they did.
Yeah.
See,
So
I
they're on
don't.
WhatsApp.
See, Margaret and I use Facebook Messenger all the time, just because we're lazy and we always have the. No, it's convenience because we almost always have Facebook open, even on our desktop, laptop, or mobile. So if you've got it open and you don't have to sign in, don't have to mess around, do any of that, I can find Margaret's icon really easily and send a message. So that's what we do.
And it's also easy to do group messaging, right?
Yeah,
Very easy to do group
exactly.
messaging.
But the only thing is, if we're sharing information that we want to be able to find later, then we're going to have to switch to email, because otherwise you got to scroll back days and days and days, and that's just an absolute nightmare. But so yeah, for just quick chats, it's convenient, it works.
And we don't want WhatsApp. We know what WhatsApp and all those other messengers are, and that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for, I'll be there in 5 minutes, or SkyTrain's broken, or do you have XYZ's phone number? It's things like that, and that's pretty much what we use Messenger for. And I don't know what other people use Messenger for, but
well, now when you get a message though, it automatically pops up the app, right?
Yeah.
Well, on mobile, but yeah.
Yeah, on mobile.
Most
That's
of
what
the
we're
time,
talking about.
yeah, that's usually only if I'm out. Otherwise, I'm on my laptop, so then it's irrelevant.
Yeah, because then you've got Messenger built into the desktop experience.
I mean, should they try to be everything to everybody?
No.
I guess. Well, I think they do, but truly, it's Facebook. We figured out what Facebook is for. Excuse me, what LinkedIn is for, what Twitter is for.
And I don't want Facebook involved in everything.
No.
That just kind of creeps me out.
I know, it's bad enough that we're on it 40 minutes a day.
40?
That's what the... Well, no, if you counted it being active, it's more like 8 or 10 hours for me. But I'm not physically actively on it.
It's open, but I'm not
open,
there.
Yeah, okay, got ya. I thought when you said active 8 hours, I'm like, wow, that's...
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, if you were to take a look and measure how long there's a tab with Facebook on it, I open it in the morning when I open all the rest of mine, and it's not the only one, and I leave it open, and then I do things with it,
Yeah, well, I'm the same. I have mine open quite, for a good part of the day, even though it's in a tab and I don't necessarily, have that tab open, but it's there and I can just click over and take a look or whatever. And then on my phone, it's there too, and it's on my tablet, so it's everywhere. So yeah. So it's
I don't watch. Although some people say to me, somebody said to me, "Wow, you're on Facebook a lot," and I thought, no, just because I go on for 5 minutes and do a whole bunch of stuff and then leave for a couple of hours, right?
Yeah.
And I don't let
it
ping me anymore because the little noise. Every time the little pingy noise happened, I would go like Pavlov's dog and go and find out what's new on Facebook. But I turned that off.
While we're on the topic of Facebook, what do you think about the controversy over Facebook doing an experiment? Remember they did an experiment on behavior?
So did OkCupid did one recently as well.
Yeah, I saw that on my...
It's like, again, it's like if you're on a free service, it's because you're the product.
Yep.
The first thing that popped into my mind is like, aren't they just like doing a split test? I mean, I know it's more complicated than that and more elaborate, but isn't it the same thing? Like if you're marketing a product or service on a website, and
I thought they were trying to adjust people's moods.
they were trying to measure people's behavior based on their moods. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
So my first reaction was, it's sort of well known that most people have a rather their persona is laundered, right? That life is good. They
have that.
Football.
Well, if you're smart, you don't air all your dirty laundry out in public on social media.
Right, but
it's more entertaining with the people that do. But I'm not about to do that.
No. But an awful lot of people do, gild the lily. So if these people were looking for honest reactions, my first reaction was everybody on Facebook is fake. So you're the
but I'm sure that
you were measuring people when they weren't being honest.
I'm not so sure about that. I think that they probably have a algorithm or a way of factoring that out. Just like when people do surveys, they can statistically determine how accurate it is, and they can rule out certain people, a percentage of the results as being fabricated or people just messing with it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think
I don't think everybody protects themselves that much.
No, they don't. They don't, and especially in the case of say somebody passes away or whatever, and then the reactions that people have, and then if they have certain ads or whatever they were doing. I don't know the details. I should have read up on it more, and I wasn't actually planning on bringing this up. Because we were on the topic, but that is where people are going to reveal themselves, and they're not going to be fake. They're going to be genuine, and they're going to be having these emotions for real. They happen to be on Facebook because their friends are on Facebook, and the family or the friends who are most implicated by whatever happened, the person who passed away or whatever it was, and then they could measure the response to certain types of ads given those circumstances, and then that way they can serve ads that are more effective based on whatever the mood is.
Right.
If someone just got married, or if a baby was just born and they're posting newborn pictures, or someone passes away, those are events that are the people that are involved virtually on Facebook with these people are going to have a certain feeling, and that feeling may predispose them to behave in certain ways and respond to certain ads. And I think it's pretty smart. And to me, it's no different than somebody just tweaking a copy on a page and doing a split test and seeing which one performs better. It's just a more elaborate.
It's all marketing.
It's marketing, and I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. And there's a lot of people that are jumping on this and saying it's horrible, and I don't quite see why. Because obviously Facebook's in the business of serving ads, and the more effective their ads are, the better. So. Well,
also too, I mean, people forget Facebook has to make money. Facebook is in the business of making money. We're not paying for it, therefore, of course, we're being sold to. So it says, get over it.
But then, the whole thing of manipulation and mind control and taking advantage of people and all that,
because TV's never tried doing that.
Yeah, but TV really doesn't. In real time as they're happening, it's pretty amazing compared to anything else that's ever existed, I think. So yeah. It's in terms of just thinking about it as a social phenomenon, it's pretty cool.
So I want to talk about the one-horse race that just was I just noticed on TechCrunch. 85% of the 300 million smartphones sold or shipped in Q2 were Android. So I said it's another
Mm,
milestone. It's
yeah.
the highest proportion ever. It was interesting saying Google's win comes at a loss for everyone else, and interestingly, for the smartphone market overall. Apple, Windows Phone, and BlackBerry all declined, while there were nearly 300 million, 295.2 million to be exact, smartphones shipped for the sale in the quarter. The smartphone growth has nearly halved compared to a year ago. So I mean, the market's getting saturated, and I said it also could come at a loss for Google because Android is likely to start getting investigated in Europe over its dominant position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's bound to happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we kind of had a conversation about this kind of off the air at our last meetup when we didn't record a podcast, and we talked about Android, specifically in terms of their podcast consumption. Because if you look at the stats, and this may or may not be relevant to app purchases and app usage and things like that, but it does kind of shed some light on how different people, different markets that are attracted to different types of phones, how they use their device. And in terms of podcast usage, on Android, it's almost non-existent compared to Apple devices. And it was interesting because Rob Walsh, the vice president of podcaster relations at Libsyn, which is one of the largest podcast hosting companies, that's owned by Wizard Media, and he has been saying for I don't know how long, as long as I can remember, he's been saying that Google is not your friend as a podcaster. They haven't done anything to promote podcasts. They don't have a native app baked into Android. They don't have anything in Google Search that is specific for podcasting. Whereas Apple was one of the, they jumped on very early and put a into iTunes, and they added it to their app store. So when you're doing a search for an app, it podcasts, if it's a relevant keyword, it'll show up. And so the discoverability of podcasts on an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod or on a Mac or even a PC with iTunes, if people are searching in iTunes, there's no comparison. It's just much easier to find. If you don't know what a podcast is, or if you've heard about it but you've never been into it, you're more likely to discover it on an iOS device than an Android device, because you have to physically search for a podcast app to download. And with iOS, iOS 7, when you purchase the phone and you start using it for the first time, it brings up a list of, I think it's about 10 apps that it says these are suggested apps, and you can download them all pretty much right away when you get your phone. It includes a whole bunch of apps like iBooks and iMovie and a whole bunch of apps, and the podcast app is included in that. But going forward, I think it's in September when iOS 8 comes out, the podcast app is going to be included app, non-deletable. So it's going to be baked right into the iPhone and the iPad and the iPod, which means there's going to be a huge amount of people that are discovering podcasts for the first time because what's this? They're going to see an app there and they're going to say, what is this? And they're going to open it.
Cool.
So
that is.
But there are apps like Stitcher.
That's.
Yeah, but people have to go look for it.
Yes. People have to know what it is and look for it and download it, and those are people who are already know about podcasts and are already into consuming podcasts. They're not new people. Hello?
Hi. So
Okay, we're back. I don't know what happened there.
okay.
Says that the connection was lost.
Yeah, I saw that. So okay, it happens.
Yeah. Okay, so so where were we? I was saying that that podcast is extremely low on Android devices, and we've had multiple conversations on the Bunker project, kind of wondering if the reason why people don't develop apps as quickly for Android is because maybe people aren't consuming them as much. So I'm wondering if it's true, and I'm not an app developer, and I invited James, but I guess he's with the time zone difference in India, he's probably at work right now. But
I think that's
I don't know. Is it? Do you think that apps aren't getting downloaded? Do you have any? I know that in-app push notifications and advertising on Android is very lucrative.
I don't. I very seldom buy apps, and I've never been an iOS, so I don't know.
I buy apps if they look, I want to, if it's $1, $2 or whatever, I usually don't even hesitate to just buy it.
I have bought some. I've got one called Lookout, which is backs it up, and it checks for security, that sort of thing. I think you can find it. You can make it make your phone beep. Does some other things. What else?
Well, there sure is a ton of podcast apps for Android.
Oh yeah, and they're on iOS too. So if you don't like the native podcast app, which has actually improved quite a bit over when it first came out, it wasn't very good, but now it's actually pretty good. But if you prefer Pocket Cast or Dogcatcher or Downcast, you can get all those on iOS too. But yeah, that's those people are people who are already in the game. They're already listening to podcasts. So I mean, I think and Google did have a kind of a quasi podcast app. It was called Google Listen, where you could listen to archived radio station content, and you could listen to podcasts and any kind of RSS feed syndicated content on there. But it's something that if Android was to embrace podcasting and
I agree,
put it on there, it'd be awesome, and it would really boost the whole podcast industry. Really, it would, because Android hasn't really done anything and Google hasn't done anything. So I'd like to see them step up to the plate.
No, because podcasting is certainly becoming more and more popular. I mean, most of my coaching clients now, they blog, they want to know what to do with YouTube, and now podcasting. So, and Hangouts on Air are also becoming really, really popular. Sometimes to deliver whatever coaching content they have. Certainly for meetings, who has face-to-face meetings these days?
Well, Bonnie and I often will do a Hangout, to chat about stuff rather than get on the train and meet somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's more efficient use of your time.
Well, yeah, and you can share your screen. It's all that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a place for face-to-face meetings for sure, but you don't always have the time to do it. And if you need to just do a quick meeting, Google Hangouts are great.
Right.
And Google Hangouts on Air, great for producing YouTube content and even.
Well, it's a great way to do a webinar too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah. Let's move on to that. Did you have anything else you want to say about Android before we move on? I think you.
Well, no. I just wanted to talk
Android
about
rules.
Webinars and we're going to go into webinars using.
Yeah, we'll go into that in a minute. But before we segue into that, we were talking about 85% of Q2 smartphone shipments were Android.
Yeah, well,
and I think you wanted to bring up the 1+1.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So I'm someone who doesn't have and hasn't had a cell phone contract in probably 3 years. And thank you, Bell Media, for putting me off contracts because of all the issues I had. So I purchased my phone. Either I buy it new, or I go out on Craigslist, or I buy it from a friend. So I know the real cost of smartphones. And that's why I have never owned a absolutely brand new Samsung at $600. It's always been something that's a couple of years old. But the OnePlus One is a Chinese, I think everybody's heard of it now, is a Chinese smartphone company. It's the overall company isn't new, but the OnePlus One brand is. So a 64.
It's a separate company, though, isn't it? It's not. It's not owned by Oppo.
Oh well,
as far as I
there's
know.
yeah. Some people, say yes. Some people say no because it's exactly the same phone.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of like a Nex. Then they manufactured it kind of like LG manufactures the
right.
Nexus phone for Google.
So so now they're starting to ship and have been shipping for a couple of weeks, and I've been monitoring reviews, and we're getting the same review over and over and over again, and that is that it really is equal to the latest Samsung, and in some ways it's better than the Samsung. And the only two things that are wrong is, one, you need an invitation to buy one, and getting those is just frustrating. They have them on Twitter, and I don't know how. I've been watching on Twitter when their tweet came out, and I clicked on the link, and it was by the time I clicked on the link, it was like 300 and some odd of 500 invitations were gone, and there's no way I could keep up. Or you have to wait till someone has an invitation and gives it to you. But you only have a certain amount of time, like 72 hours or something, before that invitation is no longer valid. So that was the one thing, and the second thing is you have to turn off the automatic double click to for the phone to become alive, because it's a little sensitive. It's too sensitive, so you put it in your pocket, and your phone has been active for for maybe an hour, and your battery is starting to run down. So, but you turn that off with one click. But other than that, nobody has been able to find anything wrong. And the big deal is it's $349.
Very
Nice.
cool. Yeah, no, that's
And
for
I bet you too, it probably won't take long before they fix that sensitivity issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing is the invitations. And in fact, some of the on Twit, the Leo Laporte's network, the only reason that they got one is because somebody physically had the phone and sold it to them. So because they couldn't even get an invitation. So yeah, I think maybe some of the other big tech writers were supplied with one. But since I'm not a tech writer,
I think that it's both good and bad. I think it's a better strategy to do it this way, to build up some hype and some buzz around the phone. Obviously, if they have enough to supply the demand, they would probably just do that. But it's a better thing to do it this way than to launch it and then they run out. And everybody complains. This way, people might complain about the invite system and say, well, why are they doing it this way? But they're not saying, oh, well, they're not a legitimate company because they can't supply it. They're actually turning it into a positive marketing situation, and then, as they ramp up, they'll be able to meet the demand. But
they get the bugs out.
Yeah.
So the other thing is there's rumors of the Nexus 6, which they're saying a November release date. So that's another $349 phone.
Yeah,
And
on a
certainly, I have
two-year
a
contract.
Nexus 4, and there's really nothing the matter with the phone. Well, there's two things: Gorilla Glass on both sides, so I have to have a
Yeah.
honkin' hard case so I don't drop it. When I drop it, it bounces,
Yeah.
and the screen's too small. So,
Yeah.
um, so the Nexus 6, we'll see what happens. I'd be willing to probably wait
No,
for the
for those people
Nexus
who
6.
aren't contract averse, you'll be able to get it for about probably $50 on a 2-year contract.
The Nexus.
Yeah, so I know you don't want a contract, but there's a lot of people that will sign up for a 2-year contract, which is pretty palatable, and then you get a phone for $50 or even free, depending on when you buy it. If you
Right.
wait a few months after it comes out, you might get it for free.
Right.
And then if you're paying your monthly bill anyways, you give up a little bit of flexibility in terms of being able to switch carriers right away without buying out the subsidy on the phone that you got. But to me, it's not
at least
really.
it's only 2 years now.
Yeah, no, 2 years is
And
definitely
and the
palatable.
CRTC rules are that even on contract after 90 days, if you ask your carrier to unlock your phone, they have to.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
So first of all, I don't want to be subsidizing them with a phone. I don't want them to subsidize me. I want to be able to either switch carriers or switch cell phones anytime I want. If I get that phone and 2 months later I decide I just hate it, then I'm free to go and buy another phone.
Yep, and you are
I
still free
certainly
to buy
do
another
that.
phone. Even if you're on a contract, you could still go and buy the $350 phone and just put it onto your
That's right, but
plan.
you're still paying for the first one, right? I mean,
No, you're just paying your monthly bill, which doesn't have I mean, some would argue that it does, but if you're okay with paying whatever the price of the carrier that you're on a 2-year contract, you're going to be paying that anyways, whether you own the hardware outright or not.
right,
Like, for
but you're going
example,
to pay for it.
if you're on TELUS or if you're on Rogers or Bell or Fido or whatever, and you have a 2-year contract, you're getting a subsidized phone, but they're not adding $10 a month to the monthly charge. Whether you buy the phone or not, you're paying the same monthly charge.
No, if I bring my own, if I bring my own phone, I get $5, $10, $20 a month less. I mean,
Okay, yeah, that's on Wind, right? Or Mobilicity.
No, that was on one of the, was it Virgin Mobile? There was
Okay.
two of them
Yeah.
that were willing to
Yeah.
um, discount the cost if I brought my own phone.
So discount the monthly cost. Okay.
So
Okay, that's
maybe
interesting.
that isn't the case with all of them because I didn't want a contract, so I didn't go to the big three.
Yeah, it's definitely not the case with the big
Okay.
three. I know that.
There was
But,
Virgin, and there's one other one. And in the end, I went
Kudo
to
probably. Kudo is probably one of them, right?
It could be. I'm totally
Yeah.
self-serve on Kudo, and I'm happy as a clown because it's TELUS's. Mostly, it's TELUS's network, and
Yeah.
I control everything, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So all three of us here are Android users, and
Yep.
we all like Android for certain reasons. Bonnie is, I guess, would you call yourself a Google fangirl?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and what about you, Margaret? Are you?
I'm kind of in between. I mean, I'm a huge Android fan. I don't get as much into the Google Docs and the Google things that Bonnie did, but I'm a huge Chrome fan, so I guess maybe I am.
Okay, but by fan girl or fanboy, what I'm referring to is kind of an ideological connection with the company.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Apple fanboys and fangirls, they have it's more than just preferring the phone. It's you've bought into.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
You
Yeah.
you drink the apple juice.
I'm not a big Kool-Aid person, so probably not I wouldn't be a super fan.
Yeah. Okay.
I just don't get that excited over anything. But yeah.
So I'm
I am.
Yeah.
I do really like Android for certain reasons, just the way that the OS functions. We've talked about before, sharing it from any app to any app, and you can do
Oh
in-app,
yeah, I love all that.
in-app purchases without having to be an Android app, like Google-owned app kind of thing. So there's a whole bunch of things I like about Android, but in terms of being tied to Google, if Apple was to come out with, say, the iPhone 6 and they relaxed on that, I wouldn't be against getting the iPhone. I know the
Yeah,
hardware
I don't know.
is good.
I mean, I used to have an iPhone, so it's not. I'm familiar with it, but no, I don't know. There's still too many things I really like, and I like the bigger screens. So I still wouldn't
Apparently,
switch. I would stay with Android.
apparently iOS 8 is coming out with widgets.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
But
not a huge
There you
fan.
go.
see, right now they're playing catch up, and it wasn't so long ago that Apple said, "Oh no, we're not going to go with that bigger screen. Nobody wants a bigger screen." Well, yeah, apparently they do.
Well, also too, aging population. Yeah, we do.
That
Yeah,
was Steve. That was Steve Jobs. He said that a phone should have the form factor where you can comfortably hold it in one hand and use it in one hand without having to use your other hand. But clearly, that's where they lost
But
most of their market share. Like most of the Apple people, the people that were huge fans of the iPhone that switched to Android, switched because they wanted a bigger screen.
yep,
also too, it's like, how often do you use your phone as a phone?
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
just a small computer that happens to make phone calls occasionally.
Well, I use my phone as a phone probably as much as I used my old phone before smartphones, but I spend a lot more time on my phone, and percentage-wise, it's a small percentage of how much time I'm actually
Yeah, I
speaking on the
spend
phone.
more time, texting and messaging and other things than I do talking on the phone.
Yeah,
yeah.
by
And
far,
and
and
my
browsing the
my
internet and
uh,
apps and podcasts and everything else.
my,
Yeah.
my screen is quite small. It's comfortable to hold up to your ear, and I still put headphones on.
I
I've
prefer
always
headphones
used.
because I can hear better then.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially if I'm out somewhere and there's other noise around, then yeah, probably just my hearing's not that great, but I prefer using my headphones or my Bluetooth anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can never find my Bluetooth. So,
I found it.
uh,
I'd lost it for about 4 or 5 months, and I found it the other day, so I got to charge it up.
right. But yeah, and
So
I'm not much of a talking on the phone kind of girl anyway. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't have to anymore. I still talk on the phone to a few people, but uh, certainly not. I'm not an avid talker on the phone.
right.
Um, 85%, that's a big number. 85% of smartphones shipped
Yeah.
in Q2 were Android phones. How many of those do you think, what percentage of those do you think are people who are just going to use it as a phone or just use it as a feature phone and not really use it as a smartphone?
Well, hard
That's
to
the key.
say.
Because we're talking about, Android winning the smartphone war in terms of market penetration, but Apple has won the
One of the big
smartphone
things, yeah, one
war
of the
in
big,
terms of profit,
yeah, well, one of the big things they had said about it was
in terms of
basically,
profits in the industry.
yeah, but also too, it's like it's so much less money to get into an Android phone. That's part of it, especially internationally. It's yeah, you can
Well,
you
exactly, and how many of those 85% are actually getting it with the data plan?
yeah,
That's the
exactly.
thing too, right? There's probably yeah, so there's all these things to keep in mind, but Google is definitely really well positioned with in the market for Android, and if they yeah, unless things change over the next few years, I think
Well,
they're
who
in
knows?
real
Yeah,
good
I mean,
position.
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. There can be an ebb and a flow in the popularity. So, but who knows? Maybe the one-in-one, that's gonna hopefully keep, that I would imagine keep Android is pretty strong.
Yep.
So
All
what
right.
would
So
happen
Okay,
if?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's just go on.
okay, I got a question for you. So it's like, so I mean, we all kind of we dislike the Twitter auto DMs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think I would love it if Twitter would just ban them or make it the ability for us to be able to turn off receiving them.
Yep.
Is there?
Because an auto DM is completely pointless to me. It's like there is no reason for you to auto DM me. If you want to thank me, retweet something I did. You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
Auto
you
DM,
know,
you certainly don't appreciate getting one.
no, I mean, and then also too, you can't bulk delete them, so it's a huge pain. I mean, thanks to Andrew, I finally found that thing, but now I'm going to have to go use it again because it's like when you're building up your following, you get all these bloody auto DMs. So this one woman, she auto DM'd me and said, "Oh, by the way, I don't do auto DMs, so don't DM me, but you can reply me." I was like, livid. I'm like, what the fuck? So you spam me, but tell me not to spam you back because you don't accept that. So
Yeah.
because she didn't follow me back, I couldn't anyway. So I did what she said, and I replied her. And they says, why on earth do you spam your followers with DMs saying you don't do DMs? And I put hashtag ultimate irony. And
Yeah,
her
she's just setting the ground rules and
her reply is, it's a courtesy. I can't answer all the DMs I get. It's a conscious choice. And in my view, it's the kindest way to do it. I'm thinking, spamming me is not kindness. It's like if
Yeah.
you don't do auto DMs, don't do DMs. Period.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just the most annoying thing ever. It's like what? It's just rude.
I actually I don't use DMs at all, and I should check every now and then because I probably have a bunch of them. But
I have to check every once in a while because I do have some clients that will DM me, hey, I'm going on a trip. Can you do my travel insurance or whatever? So it's like I do have to look, but it's like most of the time it's just it's just spam. It's like it's like I think there should be an option to say I don't want to receive any auto DMs. Because any DM that you do get is actually somebody trying to message you, for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. Then it would be worthwhile because it wouldn't just be flooded with a bunch of crap. Right?
Yeah, because right now it's just pure spam, and I just hate it.
There's a lot of people that, in terms of their chat, how you can have chat. I think even TELUS uses this. You can have chat, a little chat box on your website. So if you want to talk to customer service.
Yep.
They use Twitter DMs for that. They link up Twitter DM, and so then whoever's managing the Twitter account at that time will see the DMs and will respond to them. And whatnot.
Yeah, but I mean, you're using it for a proper reason. You're not spamming people.
No, not at all. But I just found that interesting that was an application that companies were using Twitter.
Well,
DMs.
that's a more that's a proper use of it then.
It's actually really cool. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to move on now, unless you have anything. Bonnie, we were going to bring anything? Okay. The Leibster or whatever, it's a German word, the Leibster Award. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
So Valerie got nominated for the Leibster Award by another blogger. And basically what it is it's somebody started this in Germany, and they set up some ground rules, and the ground rules have changed over time. But basically what it is it's an award that someone nominates you to receive, and then you've got to answer some questions that the person who nominated you in a blog post, answer the questions. You link back to their blog, and then answer the questions in a blog post, and then in that blog post you nominate, I think 5 or whatever, 10 other bloggers that you think are worthy of the Leibster Award. So basically, it's a chain letter. But some people who get nominated are kind of offended by it.
Yeah, I'm just on the site. Yeah, it only exists on the internet. Is given to bloggers by other bloggers.
Yeah, and it just spreads around the internet. And if you're nominated, you can put the little Leibster Award on your blog, saying that you received the Leibster.
Yeah, and you have the choice to accept it, continue paying it forward, or to refuse to accept it, and thereby stopping or interrupting the chain.
Exactly.
However, if you stop the chain, you were only hurting yourself.
Exactly, just like the gratitude awards or whatever they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think? Could you use this for marketing? Is this something that you would, if you got someone nominated you, would you do anything with it, or would you just let it go?
No, I would respond to it. I think. Someone thought as highly of you that they would nominate you.
Yeah, it doesn't strike me as a spammy thing.
Yeah, to me it seems like it's kind of a fun thing, or I mean, you could take it either way, but you could say forget it. This is just some chain thing, and I'm not interested. Or you could just say, well, yeah, it is that, but
Well,
I'm
it
gonna have some
depends. I
fun
mean,
with it.
it's like it's like so you get it. You just have to pass it along to one blog that you think is awesome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's
I'm
like
not sure if it's
if they were
one
saying
or whatever.
oh, no, we want you to, you tell two friends and you tell, then one might seem a bit spammier, but
Yeah,
oh, hang on. So you got to okay. So
5. You have
yeah,
to nominate 5 blocks.
oh, 5 blogs to receive the award who less. Oh, interesting. You have to nominate 5 blogs to receive the award who have less than 3,000 followers.
Yes.
So that's kind of cool. So you're really then promoting people that other people haven't discovered yet, rather than just trying to award the big famous people.
And you have to inform them of their nomination by leaving a comment on their blog.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, I mean, if that's going to help promote, the smaller blogs, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's kind of neat. I thought. Valerie was
Oh,
wondering.
interesting. So hang on. Set 1, you post a short Q&A about yourself, answer the questions, create a new set of questions for their nominees, and choose a list of their nominees and notify them. Then the next one you do 5, but then the set 3 is you post the award in your blog, thank the blogger who presented a link back to their blog, write 11 random facts about yourself. Then you have to nominate 11 bloggers who feel you deserve this award who have less than 200 followers.
Oh, I didn't. Actually, didn't.
Okay, that gets
notice
a
that
little.
step 3.
Yeah, that's a little complicated for me.
Yeah, because then how are we supposed to find 11 blogs who have less than 200 followers?
Yeah, no, I would. The first one, that's cool.
Second one even would be okay, but I think third, then it's that becomes like work.
Yeah, and
It
I don't
does
think.
become work.
Yeah, I would.
The question is, would there be any kind of a benefit in terms of getting attention, or if you nominate, a number of blogs, are they going to take it favorably? Are they going to, are you going to get, attention in a bad way? I don't know. It's
maybe not bad way, but I don't think it's going to catch on the way they think it's going to.
I think they made it. I think they took it a little too far.
Yep.
They made it. They should have stopped at the first 2.
Yep.
Because then it's like, yeah.
All right, so we're at 57.5 minutes of the show. So let's go on to our final topic, which is, it's been, how long has it been now since the Canada? It's been a month now since it came into effect. Castle Canada anti-spam
Are you the
legislation.
king of your castle?
Yes.
So the big thing is, remember now.
Wait. Before we get into it, let's just. I know you mentioned it a little bit in the roundtable, but let's just give a little bit of background as to what you're doing now with Constant Contact and what that you're offering this service and doing consulting and helping people to do this right. So
well, we're helping people basically overall with their online marketing, or so it's like because it's not just email, it's not just social media, it's not just it's part of your overall marketing strategy, and Constant Contact we found is a really good tool that ties that all together. Because you can bring people back to your website, you can provide some cool coupons to people, and you can use that in a Facebook promotion to increase your fan base, or through social media. You can use it for events and registrations, whether it's a free event, a paid event. You can even create your own discount codes, or even if you just want to promote, get registration for a webinar, because it's got the great analytics, and of course everything's branded. The landing page, your RSVP page, looks really, really professional. If you want to, do the newsletters, and that's all, that's great. So it's a very powerful overall marketing tool. That's so much more than it just, when it back in the beginning when it was just email newsletters.
Yeah, and it looks really cool, and it's definitely one of the, as far as the research I've done and read about online, it looks like it's one of the top players in the business.
Yeah, And what we're offering to people, because it's like the busy business person, there's busy, they're working on their business, they want to be out there talking to their clients, or working on the projects, the thing they want to do. They don't have time to necessarily do the marketing, but they need to keep their pipeline full. They need to keep people aware. That's where, rather than hiring staff, have us, pay us, a monthly fee that's a lot less than hiring staff, and we can help you do that for you. We can take that pressure off of you, so you can free you up to do what you love to do, and let us do what we love to do, and we love to market and use technology.
Cool.
And we're the experts.
Yeah, with Bonnie on the Forbes list, and yeah, I mean, and I do have a marketing background. I mean, yeah, I do work in insurance as well, but I mean, I went to, I took marketing in school, and I've done a lot of that and done a lot of technology things. So we do have a strong base of marketing experience behind us to help us actually walk our talk.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what happened, running up to July 1st. It's like the Canada anti-spam legislation, but it actually generated a heck of a lot of spam, didn't it?
It did, because people were panicking because it's like, oh, this comes on July 1st, this comes in July 1st, but nobody bothered to go read the legislation. Well, it's not even that. Our CRTC's got a lot of great information that is, you don't need a law degree to read it. And it ultimately, no matter what you do, if you are, doing CEMs, which is commercial electronic message, which is basically email, that also includes texts and direct messages on social media, so it's not just email, you need to make sure that after July 1st, you have express consent. The U.S. Can Spam Act says that it's more of an opt-out, so you can add people to your list, and they have to opt out. Canada took one step further, and we are now opt-in. So the thing is, everybody that was on your list prior to July 1st is either you have their express consent already, and some of them might have been implied consent. But the thing is, there's a 3-year grace period for you to move those people from implied consent to express consent.
Yeah, I think that's where there was misinformation. People panicked, and they didn't even know that there was a 3-year grace period.
But the thing is, it's
so
pretty
they
easy
started
to find
sending
out.
They started, spamming their whole list that, as of July 1st, due to the Canadian government, I got
one of those on June 30th at like 11:30 at night, and it was from somebody who should know better. And it's like, I just shook my head. I didn't reply because I thought, if you can't be bothered to take your business seriously, to figure out what you're going to do, and you're just,
no, I mean, there's lots of people that take their business seriously, and
I don't
they
know,
just
but
can't
the
know
thing is,
everything. But that's why they should look at companies like yours and hire professionals, right?
We'd been at a thing with them, and they were in on a discussion where we did all discuss this, but they still panicked.
Okay.
But so it's like, but also all people did was they lost a bunch of their list. Some people we heard lost 80% of their list.
Yeah.
And in some respects, cleaning your list isn't a bad thing.
No, especially if you're paying for it.
For some of them, it's like, there's some of them I might have stayed on, but after the 15th bloody email from somebody, but different people, but the 15th one you get, oh, I need you to do this, and it's like, oh,
you would be more like 50.
Yeah,
I don't know how many I got, but it was like I must have got, it must have been in the hundreds.
Yeah, see, I'm not on that. I'm not on that many, but it's like after a while, it's like, yeah, I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this anymore.
The thing is, I didn't know I was on half of them. So
yes.
Well, also too, you might
and
not.
Some of them I hadn't got an email from them for years.
But also, you might not have been on some of those lists,
yeah, exactly.
Or you might have been in their address book, and they decided, oh, here's an opportunity.
Okay, actually, yeah, that's my next question. Implied consent. Now, let's say these people were never opted in. Let's say they were a purchase list, or you were at a trade show, or board of trade, and you happen to get the whole email list of all the members, and you just dump it into your Aweber or your constant contact or GetResponse or whatever it is, MailChimp, and just throw it into to whoever you use, or even just put it into a DL in Outlook, and then you send this message on June 30th and say, I can no longer blah blah blah. Now, or even if you don't do that, you don't panic, let's say, and you just say, okay, I've got 3 years now. you never had a business relationship with these people. Does that still count?
If you just did that, yeah, there could, they could complain and there could be a dispute there. It really depends on how long you've had them on your list, but generally, but yeah, if you bought a list and stuff, that's just bad business. Yeah. For that, you'd really want to check carefully and really tread lightly. I'd say, read the CRTC. It's not that hard. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
So, but if they were on your list for a certain amount of time, let's say you bought a list and it was a year before, and they haven't opted out, then that's implied consent. Is that right?
Yep, that would be implied consent. If they've been on your list for a year and you've been, they've been getting, regular or semi-regular things with an option where they could opt out, and they haven't opted out, that would be considered implied consent.
So, next question is: let's say you are running a contest. And in the past, people have always done this, and I'm sure it's still going to be happening in the U.S. and even in Canada, despite it being legal. It looks like you can't make that part of a list building campaign, can you, anymore?
It has to be. There has to be two separate check boxes. Yes, I want to join the contest. Yes, I agree to be on your mailing list. You can't combine them.
So what if the wording of the contest says that? We are giving away. It has to be
separate. It cannot be combined. There has to be separate consent given.
But what if the wording was that we are giving away 10 iPads or Nexus 7s to random email newsletter subscribers? Click here to subscribe. Because then you're not actually
I mean that would be the whole purpose of the contest. So then they might be able to get away with that. I'd want to double check on that though.
The wording still has to say, click here to subscribe. There's got to be an unsubscribe.
Oh yeah, there always has to be an unsubscribe.
There has to be your physical address and 2 other pieces of ID, your URL, your phone number, email address.
Which I think is fabulous, because there's nothing worse than going on something and it's like there's no phone number. You have a website, but their website has no address or phone number, and it's like, who the hell are you and where are you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think a lot of it is good. I think it just went a little bit too far in terms of the.
Well, and people panic. There's people on Facebook going, "Oh, does that mean I can't email my family anymore and they can report my case?" Your family and your close friends are exempt.
Yeah, no, this is a commercial electronic message, and they're not trying to.
Okay. Although, as I say, that doesn't mean the person that happens to be on your Facebook, but you've never actually met or talked to, they're not your friend.
No, but I mean, it still doesn't. It doesn't prevent you from doing a targeted, say, campaign to like book an appointment or something. Like, for instance, cold calling. Cold calling is there's some new laws a couple of years ago that came out.
But also too, if somebody gives you your business card, you can still send them an email and follow up and thank them for meeting you, and you can't keep spamming them, but you can still follow up with them.
Let's say I'm looking for a job. Okay, so I'm going to get a financial benefit if my campaign is successful, and I email some HR people, unsolicited HR. I'm not. I don't have their permission.
You're not trying to sell anything. I don't think that would be
considered. I'm trying to sell myself. I'm trying to sell my services.
I think it's a CEM, and if you don't have any relationship with them, I don't think you can.
Well, no, I mean
but this is where I don't like this.
No. Hang on. If I want to say go to David Alpine Recruiting and I want to send them an email saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. I'd like to have you be my recruiter. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, you don't want to send them 10 messages because then you're just stalking them and being annoying. Yeah.
No, of course.
But but also too, it's like they get a benefit if they recruit you, or they can find you a job. So yeah, you can send them a message, because I mean it's the same as if but it's the same as if somebody says,
let's say it's not a recruiter. Let's say.
Oh, did we hang out again?
No, I can
see you. I think it's okay now.
Oh, I can hear you.
It kind of paused there for a second.
Okay, you know what I would these days. So what what Castle did is just brought up the feelings of a lot of people who have been hating those emails for a long time, who have had a really negative reaction to them, but have never done anything because they felt helpless. Now they see Castle, and all of a sudden they feel empowered.
Yeah, and I bet you a large percent of those complaints aren't valid, aren't going to be valid complaints. They're just people freaking out.
Okay.
Yeah, now that they feel empowered because now they know that they can complain and there's some teeth to their complaint.
But there still has to be a valid complaint though too.
Okay, but no, I'm saying, look, no, I'm going to go farther than that. I'm going to say that people, for the most part, view what used to be a reasonable autoresponder series of messages differently now. That you had better be providing incredible value, otherwise they're going to have a negative reaction.
Yeah, but now
somebody has said spam is a bad thing.
I know, but now you have to opt in to get an autoresponder, so you're not going to get it unless you ask for it.
Yeah, but my question is that who decides what's valuable? Like I'm subscribed to a whole bunch of things that
and
other
if you
people
decide
would
they're not of
probably
value,
think this is just
the thing is too, if you decide that's not of value, you have the option to leave.
Exactly, but who's going to decide this? A bureaucrat at
I know, but it's like
look at this and say no, nobody would want this. Well, yeah, I opted in.
I know, but if you're on the list and you haven't opted out, probably they're going to say, well, why didn't you just opt out?
Okay, I'm not talking about a fine. I'm talking about a whole shift in perception. So that I've been on this list for 3 years, 10 years, however many, and every single time, maybe once in a while I'll look if I see something, there's a photo or there's something, and I'll read part of it. Just because I'm not going to convert, but I might going to read it. Now there's a shift in perception that if it's anything even close to spammy, salesy, isn't providing incredible value, that I'm the click-through rate is going to be really low. The subscription rate, the unsubscribe rate is going to be high. So that if you're not sensitive to what you should have been doing for the last year, then I say your newsletter is going to be less and less valuable. You're not going to get.
I think a newsletter like that probably already wouldn't have been getting a good rating because if it was spammy before, it's like I don't think people's perceptions are going to change. I mean, probably they already opted out if they sent out one of those early ones, and if you're staying on a spammy newsletter, well then you deserve to be spammed. Just leave.
Okay, but
no, I agree.
Okay, sending the newsletter is not getting any value. I mean, what's the point of sending a newsletter if you're not going to convert?
I don't think they would have been converting before.
The spammers don't care about the spammers. Just are looking for a very low percentage. They'll just blanket.
And then now
they get 0.000001% conversion, then it's still worth it for them.
And now they're going to get a lot less, and a lot of them just aren't going to be able to do it anymore. It's not going to be worthwhile for them because they can't send out to a list because they don't have a list.
Right.
Yep.
But sure. I think people are going to be more. They're going to expect more because
I don't think so. I mean, it's like
of being spammy. Well,
hang on. There's a difference in having a shitty newsletter and to spamming someone. It's like if I'm on a list and they do stuff I don't like.
I don't think there is.
I do get what Bonnie's saying. She's saying that because of this, it's raised awareness about email marketing.
Oh, it does raise awareness, and
people who are used to getting things in their mailbox are all of a sudden going to be like. It's going to be top of mind, so they're going to be like, do I really need to subscribe to this one? No,
that's fine, but it's like, they should have been doing that already. But yeah, as spammy newsletters are, hopefully there's just going to be a lot less of them. And
let's say they're not spammy. Let's say that, it's just a newsletter that's coming out that maybe it's not quite as relevant to you as it used to be, or maybe
It's push marketing.
Maybe there's other ones that you've subscribed to since then that are better, but in the past you just kept it there, and maybe you click through to back to their blog every now and then, maybe one every 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, or maybe even once a year you click back to their blog, and because you ignored 20 of their email newsletters or whatever. But now, because it's top of mind and you're now thinking about this, you
I don't know. Is it still top of
unsubscribe.
mind? Because it's like, doesn't seem. I mean, people were talking about it, earlier, but it's like all of a sudden the panic's passed, the world didn't end, everything's still moving.
No, but I mean, it will be. I think it will continue to be top of mind as soon as, especially as soon as the first big fine gets levied, and everyone.
That'll be a while, I bet you.
Yeah.
No, it's 2 to 3
Because
years.
it's like yeah, because I mean, yeah, there is this huge grace period, so it's going to be a while, and and also think. I would bet that if they're going to make an example of somebody, it's going to be someone that's big and can afford the fine. They're not going to go after the small little guy. They might get their hands slapped and said, "Don't do that anymore." But I think the big things are going to be coming down.
They assess the fine, not like it says for an individual it says up to $1 million, but they're going to assess the fine based on ability to pay, right? That's my understanding.
And number of messages. It's like $200 a message, right?
Yeah, and also too, but I think with that grace period, it's going to be a while before it all shakes down. But
it's
like the thing is, don't panic. If you need help, talk to a professional like us, and
$200
just
per
don't
message?
I think that's
is that $200 per message sent, or $200 per message per recipient of the message?
Per recipient.
Yeah, that can add up fast.
Oh no, I can add up.
No, I'm pretty sure it was per message.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember seeing anything that said per recipient.
Well, if you're going to get to $1 million,
have a 10,000.
it can't be.
No, but I mean, but I mean, there could be an individual spammer that does, just is doesn't care, and they'll just keep paying the fines. So that they're going to end up penalizing them huge to make them stop. It's got to be enough to make them stop. The average the average business person is like, oh shit, oops, sorry, they're going to pay a little fine because they didn't actually mean to do it. It's going to be the unrepentant ones that are going to end up getting smacked the big fines.
So the thing that I don't like about this is it's like, if I've subscribed to a lot of lists just to get a free ebook or report or whatever, and I knew that I was subscribing to the list. There was no deception.
Yeah.
Right? But it was in order to get the ebook, I had to subscribe to the list.
Yeah.
And that was an understanding. It was a business transaction. I'm giving them my attention in my inbox in exchange for a product or some content. So I don't see anything wrong with that, and it kind of ticks me off that you can't do that anymore. And also,
well, you have to be careful. Yeah.
That's why I asked if you could word it as this contest is only for email newsletter subscribers.
Or it could be new.
You can subscribe right now, and you can have access to the contest.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well that is the I mean you are asking, and that is up front. But I mean, it couldn't be. But the thing is, where it used to be, at the trade shows, it was just join my free, or sign up for my free, my free contest.
Yes.
What then they weren't telling you that you're also going on a list, so you can't do that.
Yeah, except to notify them whether they're getting lost,
and if when it gets further, and it's going to be if you're downloading software, it has to be I accept the terms and condition as one checkbox.
No,
I do I accept
software part of it.
But I agree to the installation. I agree to the terms. I agree to the installation of the company's product. Blah 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 blah. And then a third checkbox. I agree to receive the company's newsletter. That has to be a separate checkbox.
For this, because this also covers software and software that's installed in your computer without your knowledge, that's bundled into some other software. I totally agree with getting rid of that. Like, get rid of that. It's that's a pain.
Yeah, and it all has to be separate checkboxes, and none of them can be pre-checked.
If I get some software from someone, download it from wherever, CNET or whatever, freeware, I want to know what else is bundled in there, and whether it's like the instant savings app that's going to hijack my
or it's let me add this stupid toolbar to your browser, and
and that you can't uninstall.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I got rid of mine, but I had to I had to clean everything out. It kept all my content, but I had to re-download my apps and software and stuff like
No,
that.
I know. It took me half a day to get rid of that damn toolbar and search.
Yeah, half a day once you figured out you couldn't do it another way, which probably took you probably 40 hours.
Yeah, that's right. So it did.
Yeah.
I lost probably a couple of days. You're absolutely
That's
right.
crazy. That's what I did too.
Of
You know,
course,
the other
that's
thing
only
with
going to protect us, for things we download in Canada, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
good point. Good point. Although, judges have been passing legislation here and saying that it affects everywhere else, so who knows?
Well, it affects messages we send out. But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about the software if that's going to affect. But anyway, let's hope so.
Yeah. The other thing too is the bribe, like the free ebook, or if you're offering a free report, you can't do that without having a separate opt-in, right? You can't say,
That's right.
as a stipulation of getting this free report, you're joining the email list. But what if
Yeah.
you do it in another way? Like, what if you say that, sign up for my free email newsletter, episode 1 or issue 1 of the newsletter is going to have the 10 free tips on how to do this and that, and stay subscribed, because episode 5 or issue 5 has this bonus plugin and blah 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 or whatever.
Well, yeah, if they're opting in to be on your newsletter list to receive newsletters, you're okay.
So it's really all about the wording, right? It's about
making it very clear. There can be no deception.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a one-off. I'm giving you my email so that you can email me a report, and that's the end of the relationship. You're making it very clear that in order to get this, you are. So yeah, I can see that. I can.
Yeah,
understand
and
that.
it also has to be clear that you are free to unsubscribe at any point in the future you like, and we'll respect that.
And I think that is just part of the
What's
expectation
reasonable?
everybody has.
Yeah, I mean that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's.
So I think
giving a free ebook away is not nearly as effective as it used to be. So.
No, it's not unless you've already developed a relationship or know, like, and trust. If you've already got that, then it's effective. But if you don't have that, then who are you and why should I download?
Yeah,
your
that
ebook?
stranger stuff isn't working. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not going to go to Joe Schmo's website that I randomly came across and download his book just because it's there. Because who is he, right? I need to see that he's been in the top 20 Forbes list first.
Well, that
then I'll
helps.
download the ebook. Yeah, so I think that is a wrap. We've gone through our whole list.
I think we've covered we kind of stayed on topic.
Yeah, there
How
wasn't.
about that?
It's funny, sitting in the bar, sitting in those lounge chairs in the bar, drinking more beer than you would at home, and with more people in the room, of course, there's more digressions. So.
Well, exactly. That just makes sense. Anyway, we'll have more digressions on the next bunker.
So I have got a tip. It isn't a podcast. It is a video blog. And the guy's name is Ben Brown. And the YouTube channel is Mr. Ben Brown. And he is an absolute genius at branding himself.
Yeah.
I found it because the BC Tourist Association, somebody either tweeted or Facebooked about this guy, about the fact that there were a number of bloggers from all over the world that had been invited to Canada for 17 days.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Yes.
Okay, so I
think I saw you post this. Yeah.
Yes. So I followed some of them. And some of them are pretty good. They're travel bloggers, and that's what this guy is too. He's English, quite young, and he was a filmmaker first. So he has that talent. But it's worth following. So he has 15-minute. His blog is a 15-minute video which he posts every day. And are you ready for this? He gets between 18 and 20,000 hits a day.
Wow.
So 18 to 20,000 views of the video?
Views every single day. Not once a week. And he just passed 200,000 subscribers on his blog.
Wow.
So
Very cool.
take a look at what he does. It isn't something that... So he's got fans he calls brownies, and he travels with this guy named Steve, whose name must be Book or something, because Steve's fans are booklets. And they have meetups wherever they go. Take a look at how he's branding himself, what he's doing. His work ethic is incredible because he does these things every day, takes I don't know how much footage, but he posts every day. Like the stuff, whatever he's doing today in Alberta is going to be up on YouTube tomorrow.
Very cool. So he's actually not like batch recording and then scheduling them out. He's actually recording them every day.
Yep, and posting every day.
Oops.
Wow.
So,
well, systems and processes.
Oh yeah, and he apparently was a filmmaker first. So
That helps.
He's not filming on his iPod, and he's got a lot of very expensive equipment. But take a look at how he brands himself. It takes about 3 or 4 videos, watching 3 or 4 videos until you get into the rhythm of it, and how he brings in restaurants. Earl's obviously paid a lot of money because they go for dinner. So coffee, steak, and hats are sort of the 3 things he buys. Hats every place he goes. He's big on steak, and he has to have coffee. So, and they, they spotlight the coffee shop that they go into. Actually mention it. The Earl's, you would probably have to know what Earl's was because it's all done very subtly. And that's the reason why, Tourism BC or whoever pays for him to come to Canada for 17 days.
Nice.
Expenses paid, I would think. Anyway, it's worth the you don't have to be a video blogger to learn a lot about how this guy brands himself.
How he brands himself and how he presents himself and whatnot. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
Very
I
cool.
thought I would pass along that tip.
I just
Apparently, I'm a brownie.
I'm just about finished a book that I got. I can't remember. I heard it on a podcast, and he was sending a copy of his new book just for the cost of shipping. So I bought it. And he's actually very well known in internet marketing. I'm sure you guys have both heard of him. Jeff Walker.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. So he wrote a new book called Launch, and it's basically going through the steps of his product launch formula. The whole book basically lays it all out. Yeah. And it's actually a really good book. Really easy to read, an enjoyable read. I really enjoyed it, and I think Bob's contacting him to get him onto Business Book Talk as well. So,
okay, he has been providing incredible content for a long time. He's a very, very good marketer.
He's one of the early internet marketers. And he's done. I think his biggest milestone is $1 million in an hour.
Whoa! Nice.
So it's pretty cool, and it's just something that you can read it, and there's a lot of actionable things that you can apply from that book. So it's good. Of course, he is in the book, giving examples and testimonials from his clients, and it is kind of promoting his coaching program, right? So.
Right.
But that's part of it, but it's still, he doesn't hold back on the content. And that's one of the things that he says in the book. He says, if you ever, when you're doing your pre-launch or your pre-launch and your pre-launch materials before you get to the launch, he says that, it's only going to work if the content that you're giving away in the initial stages up to the launch is like unbelievably good. Yeah. Because you don't hold anything back. You give... You have to provide unbelievable value, otherwise no one's gonna bite
Right.
on your launch, and people just think you're just doing an infomercial, right? So
Yeah.
so and he did this with this book. It's a very well written book with lots of good content. So I recommend it.
Okay. I'll take a look at it and buy it.
Yeah, I can bring it to the next bunker show because I'm pretty much done. I've got
Okay.
one more chapter left.
Right. Cool. So yeah.
All
Well,
right.
this
So
was very civilized.
yes, it was.
How unlike us.
Hmm. All right, and right on target for an hour and a half show.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk to you soon in the next bunker.
All right.
Okay.
Adios,
Bye.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.